Make sure the camera is straight. And then welcome myself back to my own channel. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Shad, and today we are doing something out of the ordinary, which is make a video. I've been gone for about a month now, literally to this day. You'll check the dates and see that the last upload I had was September 2nd. I'm gonna get further into detail, but the short of it is that I moved out of Maryland and to Denver, Colorado for a new job. If you want to stick around toward the end of the video, I'll have a full explanation of what's been going on, how the move has been, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. Today, I wanted to introduce our new series called Mile High Matchups. With the season less than 3 weeks away, I wanted to finally shift gears into more analytical content. I know we've been doing a lot of Summer of Love series and just overall game appreciation videos. I was talking to one of my friends on Twitter, and we were talking about this period of time leading up to the start of the season and through the first month being the magical time of the year. I guess the most magical time of the year. We got preseason games going already. The Clippers have played so far. The Warriors have played so far. It has been a weird offseason, but it's been very fun. And today, since we finally are able to shift gears, I'm very excited to talk about the Nuggets matchup against the Golden State Warriors for this season on every single front. This 3-game regular season series that we're going to have is going to be very different from what it was last year. So let's get into it. These teams faced off against each other 4 times last year, and the Denver Nuggets took this season series by 3-1, I believe it was. For context, both teams were never fully healthy for each of those matchups, and it was a really weird split. Sometimes Jordan Poole would be the best player for the Nuggets. Sometimes, I think Nikola Jokic ended up playing all 4 games. Steph was missing for a couple of those. Draymond was missing for, I believe, all of them, and Klay Thompson was there for a couple of them too. But I think that's partly the reason why we were able to go 3-1 against them, and it kind of hurt us in the end because we never got a full look of what the Warriors were during the regular season, and then that's why we lost 4-1 to them in the playoffs. A couple of notables for this season's series matchup: the Warriors roster looks damn near identical, minus Gary Payton II and adding back James Wiseman, who is kind of scaring me because through 1 preseason game, he has looked incredible. Take that how you will, take that with a grain of salt. It has been 1 preseason game, but he looks damn good. I'm a little bit worried. But on the Nuggets side, our roster has gotten better. If you've been paying attention to the channel or just the NBA in general, KCP, Bruce Brown, couple of draft picks. We added DeAndre Jordan. Our roster looks completely different than what it was last year. I believe it was 8 total players that have been shifted in and out on this roster, which is a lot. It's a lot that has to be adjusted to, but like I mentioned before, these 2 teams will play 3 times this season, 2 games in Denver, 1 in Golden State, with the first game being October 21st in Golden State, the second game being on February 2nd in Denver, and then the third game being on April 2nd in Denver. It is with a heavy heart, unfortunately, that I say this, but I unfortunately think that the Warriors are going to win this regular season series 2-1. Please let me explain, because I don't like hearing myself say it, but I think it's the truth. If we're taking a look at just rotation matchups in general, just on paper, the Warriors look damn good. They look so much better than what we do because their depth is higher than what ours is. The Warriors got Steph, Clay, Wiggs, Dre, and Looney. Depending on how James Wiseman develops over the season, I'm sure he'll be taking over that starting spot, but that starting 5 compared to Jamal Murray, KCP, MPJ, AG, and Jokic, that's not the real problem. Like I just said, it's when we get to the bench that's the real issue. So Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, and Dante DiVincenzo. If we look over to the Nuggets bench, we have Bones, we got Bruce Brown, we got Christian Brown, Devon Reed, Jeff Green, and DJ. On paper, namesake only, this looks very bad for us. If you pay attention to what we have struggled with over the past couple years, it was backup play in general, depth, bench depth, all that stuff. We also have 2 aging big men on our bench now, and our non-aging big man is 6'9" Zeke Naji. So if we're looking at this matchup specifically, it's going to be a little rough when it comes to backup big play. Luckily, our main big man is Nikola Jokic, so it's not really it's not the worst thing in the world to not have the greatest backup center when your starting center is Jokic. But when you're coming up against a team like the Warriors that have a 7-footer coming off the bench that is mobile, that has a post game, that rebounds the ball, that is aggressive, that is athletic, compared to what we have, it's going to be a bit of a problem. And I'm not very excited to see how that happens, but I think that's going to be the main point of emphasis if we want to actually turn the tides in this season series. We can break it down a little bit further. We can look at the individual skills matchup between these two teams, and unfortunately, the Warriors have the advantage on paper. They're the better shooting team. Their interior offense, I think, is worse than ours. Their ball movement is about the same with a slight edge to the Warriors. Our defense is sadly worse than the Warriors, at least for now, because we haven't seen what our new defenders are going to be able to do in action. So that is a little bit of a, this is obviously, all of this is premature, but this one I think is a little bit most premature because I do think that the Nuggets have the tools now to be a top 5 or top 6, top 7 defense in the league. And I think the Warriors are still going to be there as well. Depth is the Warriors, like we talked about. Health, advantage Warriors, because we will be integrating 2 very high impact players back into our rotation this season after missing an entire year. So that's going to be a little bit hard to deal with. And yeah, I think just, oh my God, I've spent all of this video talking good about the Warriors, but this is what you're here for, right? Your objectivity and realness in our commentary. That does not mean though that I think the Nuggets are just like going to be completely washed. I don't think they're going to get blown out in any of these games because of how well practically their rotations and their roster has been constructed. And especially against this matchup, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, obviously, but I think we have tools now that are able to better address the Warriors' strengths than what we did last year and years before. One of those strengths was their dribble handoff game. And when I say they, I mean the Warriors. Their dribble handoff game, their off-ball screening game, it was very elite. It killed us in the playoffs, along with the other side of the ball, but we'll get into that in a little bit. The Nuggets will have a much, much easier time dealing with the DHOs, dealing with the screens, because we have 2 really good perimeter defenders coming in that are able to take the pressure off of Aaron Gordon, who was initially in that role, playing out of position again, not guarding the 4s that he typically wants to, but now having to guard guards and the speedy guards and all that stuff, it's just not his game. KCP and Bruce Brown come in, that's their game. AG goes back. We have a lot more tools to deal with it. Giving Jokic more weapons seems a bit unfair, especially weapons that know how to shoot the ball and can actually put the ball on the floor a little bit and make a good pass. It's going to be a lot to deal with because now, like, we can take this back to the playoffs. The Warriors were able to blitz the shit out of Jokic because there were no on-ball creators besides him. Will Barton and Monte Morris were our best. That wasn't going to get us nowhere, unfortunately. Now, with the more help, with more offensive tools, with more reliable self-creating tools, the double teams on Jokic are going to be less severe because then you're leaving open like 3 different 40% three-point shooters. And that's going to be an issue because last year, I believe we ranked middle of the pack in terms of three-point shooting. If I'm not mistaken, I think we were hovering around like 34 or 35% or something like that. We want that a little bit higher. And we did. And yeah, man, it's like the more you look at it, we can only talk about this mostly on paper because the season hasn't started yet and because we haven't seen the Nuggets' new roster in action. It's a lot of what ifs. It's a lot of hypotheticals. It's a lot of premature thinking and opinions and all that stuff. But this matchup is not going to be fun. I think it'll be fun in like I'm a basketball fan. These are 2 great teams going at it. This is going to be a really fun game to watch. And I completely agree with that. As a Nuggets fan and someone who has to edit Nuggets content, this is not going to be fun. It's going to be very intense. It's going to be a very engaging series. And I think with full health on both sides, we're going to see arguably 2 of the top 5 teams in the league play against each other 3 times. That's going to be really fun to watch. Despite how I feel about the Warriors' advantage on paper, the Nuggets still have a really strong chance of flipping this, what I think is going to be a 2-1 series in favor of the Warriors, and then flipping it over into their favor. But I digress. That's enough that I really have to say because all hypotheticals, all very premature. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit rusty on camera. I literally haven't done this in a month. It's a little weird for me right now, but I'm going to get back into the swing of things. Our next Mile High matchup will be with the Los Angeles Clippers, because that one I'm really excited for, actually, because I think the Clippers have a lot of things that are going to go for them really well, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that their 2 superstars stay healthy. But with that being said, thank you very much, everybody, for watching all the way through. If you're going to stick around for this outro and for my explanation, thank you very much. If you're leaving now, I'll talk to you next time. All right. It's just me and you. Let's talk. I moved to Denver, Colorado for a job, a video editing job, editing Nuggets content. Yesterday was the 1-week mark. I've been here for a week and a day. It has been very fun. I've driven a lot. I've seen the mountains. I've seen the clouds. I've seen Cherry Creek State Park. I've seen Denver. I've seen Ball Arena because I worked there my first day. It's been very, very fun. And I do sincerely apologize for the lack of content over this month. I tried. I really did. If you ask my friend Sam, none of you know who he is, but if you ask my best friend Sam, I recorded a video. I recorded one version of this Mile High matchup for the Warriors already, and I hated it. It came at a time where I was trying to really squeeze in any sort of recording and editing time that I could. So while I was filming, the video just ended up being terrible. I was stuttering a lot. I wasn't confident in what I was saying. That being said, I am a little bit more settled in now. I'm going to be here in this temporary housing for about a month, and then I'm going to get my own apartment, and it's exciting times, man. I'm like, this is the start of my adult life. It's crazy. It's fun. It's crazy though. But that's about it. Honestly, I thank you very much for sticking all the way through. I know you're a real one. If you're hearing these words right now, I appreciate you on a level that you don't even understand. Seriously. Because it means that you just care about me as a person and not just a content creator. And I really love that. But yeah, that being said, here's the actual outro to the video. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.